Once upon a time, the United States was more than a country. It was a promise. A symbol of progress, freedom, and endless possibility. People around the world looked to America as the land where dreams were built. From Silicon Valley's tech boom to the Apollo missions that reached the moon, it was the place that made the impossible possible. But somewhere along the way, something changed. The energy that once pushed America forward now feels uncertain, fractured, and heavy. The dream that once united generations seems harder and harder to reach. Factories that once built cars and steel now stand silent. Families that once believed in the American dream now wonder if it still exists. And the world that once admired America is beginning to question if the story of greatness was temporary. Today, we look at the 10 biggest reasons why the U.S. may never be the same again, and what these changes mean for the nation's future. Number 10, the vanishing middle class. The American middle class was once the heartbeat of the nation. Hardworking families who could afford homes, education, and vacations without falling into debt. But now the middle class is shrinking at a pace no one imagined. Housing costs are soaring. Healthcare and education are eating away savings. And wages for most people haven't kept up with inflation for decades. A family earning what was once considered comfortable now feels trapped, stretched thin, and uncertain. The gap between the rich and poor grows wider each year, creating two different Americas, one that thrives and one that barely survives. When the middle class disappears, so does the balance that keeps democracy strong. And that's what makes this crisis so dangerous. It's not just economic, it's existential. Number 9, political division. Beyond repair once, politics was a place for debate and compromise. Today it feels more like a battlefield. Americans are no longer simply disagreeing, they're despising. The internet has turned politics into a war of emotion, where facts are optional and anger is currency. Friends block each other. Families stop talking. Communities split into red and blue islands. This isn't healthy debate, it's national burnout. Every great civilization faced internal conflict before decline, and America's growing inability to agree on basic truths might be its greatest weakness of all. Number 8, the decline of trust. Trust is what makes a society function, and in America, that trust is fading fast. People don't trust their media. They don't trust the government. And increasingly, they don't even trust each other. Conspiracy theories thrive, misinformation spreads like wildfire, and truth itself has become a battlefield. When trust dies, cooperation follows. And when cooperation disappears, a country starts to crumble from within. It's not just about politics. It's about people feeling betrayed, unheard, and unseen in a system they no longer believe works for them. Number 7, economic instability and debt. The numbers are staggering. The U.S. national debt has crossed $35 trillion, and it's growing every second. At the same time, everyday Americans are drowning in credit card bills, student loans, and rising living costs. The cost of simply existing, food, gas, housing, has become unbearable for millions. Yes, the stock market looks strong. Yes, corporations report record profits. But for most Americans, the economy feels like a storm, one paycheck away from disaster. The land of opportunity is turning into a land of survival, where dreams cost too much to chase. Number 6, the mental health crisis. America's biggest unspoken epidemic isn't a virus, it's despair. Rates of anxiety, depression, and addiction are at historic highs. Teen mental health is collapsing, adults are overworked and undersupported, and communities lack their sources to help. Social media promised connection but delivered comparison, loneliness, and endless scrolling. People are more connected than ever, yet more isolated than any generation before. A society can't move forward when its people are quietly falling apart. And America's silent struggle is becoming one of its deepest wounds. Number 5, the collapse of community. There was a time when every town had a heartbeat. Neighbors looked out for each other, families gathered on front porches, and people found belonging in shared spaces. But as cities expanded and technology took over, community faded into memory. Now it's normal to live in a crowded neighborhood and still feel completely alone. Churches, schools, and civic organizations, once the glue that held people together, are disappearing or losing influence. The loss of connection has created something far more dangerous than loneliness, a loss of purpose. Without community, people lose empathy. And without empathy, a nation loses its soul. Number 4, global decline of influence. There was a time when the US led the world, militarily, economically, and culturally. But the 21st century has seen a quiet shift. China, India, and other global powers are catching up fast, reshaping trade, technology, and diplomacy. The world no longer revolves around Washington. American dominance in manufacturing, innovation, and even pop culture is being challenged on every front. It doesn't mean America is over, but it's no longer the only voice in the room. For a nation built on global leadership, that realization is hard to accept. Number 3, the changing face of the American dream. The American dream, once so clear, now feels confusing. For previous generations, it meant working hard, buying a house, and raising a family. For today's generation, it means paying rent, surviving inflation, and trying not to drown in debt. Young Americans aren't dreaming bigger, they're dreaming smaller. They want peace, not power, stability, not luxury. The American dream hasn't died, but it's evolved. And in that evolution, something essential has been lost: hope. Number 2, cultural fracture and identity crisis. America's diversity was once its pride, but now it's also its pain. The country's cultural fabric, once united by shared values, has splintered into countless sub-identities. Generations don't understand each other. Races and ideologies clash online and in real life. The question, what does it mean to be American, no longer has one clear answer. And when a country loses its sense of identity, it begins to lose its direction too. Number 1, the loss of optimism. Perhaps the most devastating change is invisible: the loss of belief in tomorrow. For the first time in modern history, most Americans believe the next generation will live worse lives than their parents. That sense of progress, the feeling that each decade gets better, has disappeared. Optimism built this nation. It sent rockets to space, built highways across deserts, and united millions under a single flag. Without it, America isn't just struggling, it's standing still. The moment a country stops believing in itself, the decline has already begun. So, is it really the end? Not necessarily. America has fallen before. It's faced civil wars, depressions, and deep divisions. And every time it found a way to rebuild. But rebuilding starts with honesty, admitting what's broken and having the courage to fix it. Because the truth is, the US may never be the same again, but that doesn't have to mean it can't be better. Maybe this is the start of something new, a painful, necessary rebirth of the nation's identity. The world is watching. The question is, can America rediscover what made it great in the first place? Not power, not wealth, but purpose? If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps us reach more people who want to understand what's really happening in America today.